What if death wasn't the end? There's a growing number of people who believe it's not, and they're putting their faith and savings into a process promoted by scientists who are sure death will one day be curable. And that brings us to a love story like no other we've ever told. Kim Suozzi was 23 when she was diagnosed with an aggressive and terminal brain cancer. But Kim, her boyfriend and her father hit on a bold plan to give her a second chance at life after she died. Here's Denham Hitchcock.
We had a lot of last conversations. We didn't know every night if she was going to be awake the next day. I told her that I loved her, that we're going to miss her. But we'll be together again.
Hi guys, it's Kim. I just wanted to give a quick update on how my treatment was going. My hair is falling out a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Hi, you've reached Kim. Please leave a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Hey, Kim, it's Dad. Just wanted to call to hear your recording, hear your voice. I love you and I miss you, and we're always thinking about you. Love you. Bye.
Got some treasures here.
Yeah. I have a shirt from when we were in college, I guess our freshman year. I think this is kind of interesting. She always had this on her desk as like a decoration.
It's like a random arm that she'd have on her.
Yeah, it's Woody from Toy Story.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought I recognized it from somewhere.
Are you filming?
Yeah.
I like the way you move.
What would be your hope for her if she comes back in the future and finds all of this?
I just want her to be happy and be able to have a shot to enjoy life again.
Oh, you're cute.
I think that she'll be happy that I took the care to bring it. So.
A little emotional, I guess, seeing all this stuff together.
Yeah, but it's good. I mean, it's at least better to think that there could be a shot someday that she could be back in some form.
Josh Schisler is taking his girlfriend's treasured possessions to a special place. Kim has passed away, and yet Josh hopes she hasn't left him forever. If all goes to plan, one day in the future, Kim will be back.
I remember she said, maybe, Dad, someday we'll all be together again. And I said, well, maybe your way or my way, but we probably will at some point. That's what I told her.
Cryogenics has given a grieving father and a boyfriend some comfort that Kim's death is only temporary. They are putting a lot of hope in an emerging, sophisticated science.
I'm interested in cryopreservation because this is really the last thing I can do to try to live longer. It's not that I'm scared of dying, but I don't want to die knowing that I could have done something more.
So you believe the current definition of death is wrong?
Essentially, yes. Medical capabilities change over time. And so what is impossible to recover from today will be different from what we can recover from, say, 50 years from now. Just as we can bring people back to life today who were irrecoverable 50 years ago.
It's inevitable, unavoidable. But what if death was only temporary? We can freeze a human embryo and bring it back, so why not a person? Well, 145 people in this room, in these metal canisters, are counting on it. 145 people frozen in liquid nitrogen, just waiting to resume their lives. Now, the staff at this place, they call them patients because they believe that death is just a condition that can be cured.
Well, I think death, if properly defined, is the end of life. But what we call death today is really, it's really, you're in a bad state. If you don't do something to stop it getting worse, then you really will be dead. What they should be doing is saying, okay, let's pass this person on to a cryonics organization. Because what cryonics is really is an extension of emergency medicine. We're saying, when you reach the limits of today's capabilities, let us take over, let us stabilize the patient, let's stop them getting worse, and then we can wait for decades, as long as it takes, until we can develop the technology that can, in fact, rescue that person.
A model demonstrates how one person, a California man who died of cancer, has already been frozen.
Cryonics has long been the realm of science fiction. The process of freezing human bodies, trusting the science of the future will bring them back to life.
So the pods on the outside are for the full body patients?
So 4 of these go around the outside of the vessel, and then we can get 5 neuro patients placed down in the center column.
Okay, by neuro patients you mean the heads?
Yeah.
These days, there are some serious people putting serious money into it. Because, as our own lifetimes have proved, what was once beyond imagination can quickly become old news.
Leonardo da Vinci could draw wings and basically design helicopters. He couldn't build them, so you could say, well, helicopters were impossible back then. But no, he knew they were possible, he just couldn't build them. So we're not projecting anything that violates the laws of physics. We're just talking about things that are today we don't know how to do, but in principle should be achievable.
When did Kim first know that she was sick?
She had a seizure in her friend's car, and then I got a call from the hospital. That was when we knew something was definitely wrong.
At 21, Kim, a neuroscience student, was diagnosed with a brain tumour. Her textbooks would tell her a grade 4 glioblastoma was an aggressive cancer. Her doctors would tell her she had a year to live.
Kim sat there and she said, I remember she said, she was like looking at us going, and like we were kidding. She's like, you're kidding, right? That's what she said, you're kidding. And Josh said, no, Kim, you're gonna die.
I wasn't gonna bring it up because she was still like recovering, but I knew that if she asked, I wasn't gonna lie to her.
That was a little harsh, the way he said it, but how do you tell somebody? There's no good way to say it. You know, you have to just come out and say it, you know? So, we told her. She was, you know, a lot of quiet, a lot of crying.
Time, all of a sudden, became incredibly precious.
Sometimes the side effects can be a little bit more intense over time.
First few days where I was really tired.
Really tired.
Yeah.
Kim started a video diary and, despite the odds, threw herself into clinical trials.
So far, it's going about as well as I could hope. I am losing a little bit of hair and I'm a little fatigued, but not as much as last round of radiation.
The chemo and radiation treatments are brutal, but Josh is with her for every step.
I was glad that she was trying to survive, even though like there was pretty much no shot. Like so few people survive with that type of cancer.
And we were over a year into this whole thing, and we all knew what the outcome was going to be. So I knew I had to bring up a difficult question to her. I was, what do you want me to do? Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? What do you want to do when you die? And she said, well, Dad, I'm gonna freak you out, and I want to be frozen. And I said, frozen like in a tomb? I mean, I don't understand. What do you mean?
There were really no treatment options left for her. So at that point, like the only tangible thing that we could really think to do was like cryonics, or to try to have her brain preserved.
But how would 2 struggling students pay to have Kim committed to an expensive cryonics facility?
I think it's $80,000. Usually people pay for it with a life insurance policy. She didn't have life insurance. I wrote "Freeze Me" Reddit on a piece of paper.
They mobilised a social media campaign and launched a crowdfunding operation. The response was immediate and overwhelming.
Her story is as sad as it is unusual.
The options are either I die and nothing happens, likely, or I come back and things are weird, probably, but I mean, I'm alive again.
She had to have something to believe in, and this cryonics was what was making her, getting her through this whole thing. That, hey, at the end, I'm going to be going someplace. I may have a chance, okay? And that's the hope that she needed. That's the hope she needed for herself.
It's just crazy how helpful people were and how generous people were.
It's a total shock to me that people that hardly even know me are considering donating to something just so that I can have some peace of mind, and I really can't find words to express how thankful I am about that.
It was kind of like when she was a baby, when you put her to sleep at night, you said, "Good night, Kim, I love you." It's kind of like the same thing, because, you know, you want to tell your kids you love them when you put them to bed, and we were putting her to bed for good.
And then I went over and just held her hand and comforted her.
The only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them into the impossible. I think there's like a 1 or 2% chance of this working, so it's not like I'm counting on it, but put that next to 1 or 2%, it's definitely worth it. I really appreciate all the help and support, as always, and I hope to make another update soon. Thank you.
Patient A2643, Kim Suozzi. She's a special case.
Kim is a special case partly because of her age.
At 23, Kim Suozzi is one of the youngest patients here at the Alcor facility in Arizona. But before she was placed in deep freeze, she had to undergo the cryopreservation process.
It's very similar to most hospitals. It has some specialized equipment. The patient will come in through the back doors. We'll put the patient on here. If it's a whole body patient, typically they will open up the chest, access the major blood vessels of the heart, and then we're going to connect the vascular system to our pump and our chiller, and we're going to circulate that around, gradually removing the blood and body fluids, including the fluids inside the cells, and replace that with a cryoprotectant solution, which is like a medical-grade antifreeze.
For those who are neuro patients like Kim, the head is removed and placed in this box for the same procedure.
And we're going to place the cephalon, which is what we described, the brain plus the skull, upside down in the ring. The idea is that we can then access the carotid blood vessels. And we end up storing the patients at minus 320 Fahrenheit, minus 196 degrees C. At that point, there is no metabolic activity whatsoever. So whether they're in there for a day or 100 years really doesn't make any difference.
What did Kim believe about what makes us who we are?
I guess the most important thing was that she was convinced that there was everything that you do and everything that you think and who you are is like, it is all a function of your brain.
We were able to get her cryopreserved, and her boyfriend, Josh, was very supportive of the whole thing. And we hope that he will see her again in the future.
For the moment at least, the odds are against them. In order to rebuild or recreate a damaged human brain, first we would need to map the billions of pathways and connections up here, like a blueprint. The problem is, there are more of those than stars in the universe. With today's technology, it would take thousands of years to map a single human brain. There are a lot of experts, a lot of skeptics, that say we'll never be able to bring her back. What do you say to that?
I don't think she's stupid or naive. Like, if they think that they're so sure that the cryonics procedure today is inadequate to the extent that we could never bring those people back, then they should focus on trying to improve the procedure today, not for Kim, but for other people.
Kim, it's Dad. Just thinking about you today. Wanted to just reach out to you and tell you I love you and I miss you. And then a day goes by that I don't think of you. If this does come to be a reality, she's going to be all by herself in the future. And these voices will be her family that she can communicate with. I enjoy listening to your voice on the phone when I call. I wish your message was longer that I'd listen to. And I just want you to know that. With this, I hope that leaving the messages that she'll know that we didn't forget her.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Josh, good to see you again.
Good. Hey, I have this box for you. This is Kim's stuff.
That's right, we have an underground salt mine, and nothing will be disturbed there for decades or centuries, as long as it takes, and hopefully Kim will reclaim that one day.
Yeah, I hope so. It's a relief to give it to you, and I appreciate you guys taking care of it.
We'll take very good care of it.
I don't want to die knowing that I could have done something more. It's a long shot, but I think it's worth it. But if it does work, the payoff will be huge.